When I finished university, and after I was very involved in the movement in opposition to the war in Vietnam and the civil rights movement in the United States, I returned to Canada after a period of time living in the third world and decided that the best way to effect change, because change was dramatically and drastically needed in the 60s and 70s, I decided that I didn't want to be an academic and that I wanted to act broadly and specifically in the context of the power disequilibrium in the society. And so I went to law school with the intention of representing the weak. I articled at a trade union and became their principal counsel throughout Canada, and I proceeded to develop skills as a labor and litigation and trade union side lawyer. I became particularly concerned with the relationship that people have to their work and what happens when you lose your job, and the devastation that people experience when they lose their job and when they lose all of the identity and dignity, never mind the financial security that is entailed in employment. And after 17 years as the principal counsel at the Steelworkers and having developed a legal department there and worked throughout Canada and the United States for them, I decided I wanted to embark more broadly in the practice of law for a broader sector of clients, including others and more trade unions, albeit all the time continuing a very warm and cordial and friendly relationship with the steelworkers. To this day, I represent many steelworkers locals, and I wanted to be able to represent individuals. And so there is a connection between the work I was doing as a student, right throughout my graduate studies and my legal career, and right throughout the period while I was a young lawyer. I'm not a young lawyer anymore, but I still am completely open to listening to and open to the ideas and concepts that the young lawyers who work with me bring to this practice. I worked in a large downtown Bay Street law firm, and I was exposed to litigation and constitutional issues. And so I understand what life is like down on Bay Street. I understand the nature and limitations of the kind of work environment that imposes on the many thousands of lawyers who go down there every day and then go up in the elevators and work in a strict and structured environment that to a large measure reflects the demands of the client base that retain those very expensive, very large, and increasingly international corporate and commercial law firms. So I understand what Bay Street is about, and I've been there. And throughout now over 30 years of practice, I litigate incessantly against lawyers from those firms, because they largely represent the powerful interests in our society. When I wanted to practice on my own when I left the Steelworkers, I decided I wanted something that was in effect anti-Bay Street, that was the opposite, that was much more informal, much less hierarchical, much more friendly, that didn't impose strict clothing guidelines, that didn't tell people that their lives at work were distinct and separate from their lives at home. And with the emergence of technology over the course of the last 2 decades, there is a thinner and thinner line between work and home, as people are able to, and my lawyers and myself are able to access all of our intellectual material, all of our research tools, all of our correspondence, and the email. So in fact, increasingly, as we know, offices become less and less relevant. More and more people can work from wherever. And we recognized that early on, that offices were not so significant. What's significant is the quality of the communication and the quality of the thinking that goes into seeking to resolve and work through issues that clients bring.